You're gone. Tucker's gone. There are a lot of questions over there now about what Fox is doing, because they also cut ties with people like Laura Trump. And a lot of people wondering whether Fox is doing this intentionally without owning the fact that they're trying to cleanse themselves of people who were openly supportive of Trump or MAGA world, or, the new MAGA Republican Party, that they're trying to get back to their, quote, establishment roots. What do you think?
Well, as it turns out, Dan Bongino's been thinking a lot about this. We're going to see what he has to say about what's really going on at Fox News and the future, the rising new media that's about to take Fox's place.
Megyn, for as many issues as you and I may have, we need Fox. We need a healthy, conservative alternative. And Newsmax is doing great, not knocking them. Their audience is exploding. But it's still, even with people leaving Fox, isn't Fox's audience, we need them healthy. What are we going to do? Watch MSNBC or CNN? They need to explain what happened with Tucker. You can't leave this out there in the ether, because people are filling in the blanks and saying, because of ABCD, XYZ, and filling in their own reasons. They got to explain this, or I think that the problems are going to continue.
Well, Fox is in no danger of going out of business, but they're being taught a lesson right now by a very angry audience. And I support the lesson. Yeah. They've gotten too big for their own britches. They think they're the Fox News of 10 years ago, and they're not. They're on the way down. They're not on the way up anymore in terms of audience share and popularity. And they no longer have a monopoly for all the reasons you just stated. So some humility would serve them well right now in understanding their audience is their business. That is their entire business. You thumb the middle finger at those people, your business is over. They're your bosses. And to not even show them the courtesy of an explanation on their favorite host is absolutely disrespectful. And the audience is punishing them. It's punishing the whole primetime right now. And I think they're going to continue punishing the 8. They're now reportedly moving Hannity to 8, and they're going to put Jesse at 9, and they're going to put Gutfeld at 10. Laura moves to 7, according to the Drudge Report. I don't think that's smart right now, because the audience likes Sean. He's been there for years. I know he's a good friend of yours. And I like Sean too. But they're punishing Fox. So don't take one of your biggest stars and line him up for punches in the face, because he's going to get it too. He is going to get it next. And it's just not setting anybody up for success.
No, you're right. I mean, like Will Cain, for instance, was on this week. Everybody loves. Who doesn't like Will Cain? I mean, he's a good Will's guy. An impossible guy to not like. But the ratings are still not great. So your assertion there is absolutely correct. They're clearly not targeting them specifically, because some shows have done okay. Like People, and the 5 seems to be holding up reasonably well. But they really do need to provide some kind of an explanation. It's not going to work to keep it out there like that this didn't happen, because I think a lot of people think this may be some kind of anti-Trump thing.
So that's some interesting inside baseball there. I mean, you heard from both Bongino and Megyn Kelly. No one outside of Rupert Murdoch and his inner circle actually knows why Tucker was let go. I mean, there's been tons of speculation about it, no question. But to this day, Fox News has yet to offer a single explanation to us, the viewers, for why they canned the single most popular news anchor on television. I mean, that includes cable, network news, talk radio. No one even came close to Tucker. I mean, you just compare how Tucker's doing right now with all the offers that he's getting, right? We're talking $100 million offers. You compare that to the relative obscurity that CNN's now fired lineup has found themselves in, right? Don Lemon, Chris Cuomo, Brian Stelter. I mean, they're all losers. Nobody wants to go near them after they were shown the door at CNN. I guess Cuomo, he's slowly building his way back up. But Stelter, Lemon, Toobin, right? Remember Zoom and Toobin? I mean, they've all been discarded onto the ash heap of cable news history. And so this lack of explanation for why on earth Fox would get rid of the single most popular news personality out there today is garnering several theories. I mean, one of them is, of course, that it was part of the Dominion settlement. That's the first one we heard. Fox settled with Dominion in the court to the tune of $700 million plus. And getting rid of Tucker was baked into the cake of that. Again, why is anyone's guess? It's not as if Tucker had a particularly unique spin on the 2020 election, but that's one opinion. The other one, of course, is the suspicion that Tucker he was fired basically to silence him. to remove his pro-Trump, pro-populist, anti-war voice from the public square. Rupert Murdoch hates Trump. He loves DeSantis. And so the upshot to this is that Tucker has another couple of years to go in his contract, like 18 months more so. And as part of that contract, he can't compete against Fox News on air. So he'd be effectively shut down from any public influence for the foreseeable future. Moreover, I'm sure you all know, Rolling Stone reported that they had 8 sources telling them that Fox News' top brass had been stockpiling incriminating information on Tucker, Oppo research, so as to ensure his silence. So the theory is twofold. As long as they keep paying Tucker, he's got to comply with the strictures of the contract. And if he decides to go rogue, they got Oppo research to deter him from speaking out. But obviously, if that was the plan, I mean, it's all unraveling. I mean, even Rolling Stone recently admitted that none of this is going to stop Tucker. He's not even remotely intimidated. He's not going to be silenced. And he is indeed preparing to absolutely crush Fox by taking his show to Elon Musk's platform on Twitter. And that brings us to what Dan and Megyn had to say about the rise of the new media. Wait until you hear this. But first, my glorious fellow patriots, we are seeing it unfold right before our very eyes. Millions of average Americans are speaking with their dollars and boycotting Bud Light. It's really hitting them in the gut. Bud Light pushed their woke agenda through Dylan Mulvaney, and we, the little guys, responded with a massive boycott, resulting in billions of dollars lost because of their leftist ideology. And the best part is we can continue this boycott and boycott and do it to other woke corporations as well. It's time to fight. Stand with us by clicking on that link below and visiting patriotswitch.com. Patriot Switch gives us the ability to boycott as well as boycott and walk away from woke consumer product companies that have sponsored trans activists like Mulvaney, companies like Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, Maybelline, and a whole host of other woke companies like Johnson & Johnson. I mean, you name it. Now we can shop at a thoroughly conservative, supporting, Patriot-owned, American-made consumer product company in North America. Join our little guy boycott movement now by clicking on that link below and going to patriotswitch.com/Turley to help us stick it to the left.
First, I want to hit this point. I think there are a lot of people, not just at Fox, but in the media in general, who really don't understand new media. And I use you for an example. I actually used you on my show. It was about 2 weeks ago or so. I did a whole segment on your show because I didn't want to make the story about me. And I said, you know, it's bizarre. They're writing, nobody can survive outside of Fox. They said, look at Megyn Kelly, who hasn't done much since. And I shook my head. I'm like, what a bunch of morons. Do they not understand? So I understand the podcast space and I watch our rankings because I'm super competitive about everything. I know the audience you have. I can reasonably guess it. It's enormous. That forget even social or anything like that. I'm just talking about strict downloads and watches, right? So I'm reading these articles about how Glenn Beck, oh man, it's over for Glenn. Bill O'Reilly finished. Megyn hasn't done anything. That damn Bongino and Tucker, they're going to be finished. And I'm thinking, these people really don't get it. And I'm talking about media in general, but I'm not sure some people at Fox really understand that. They were good to me. I'm not going to knock them. To me, the Tucker thing, I think, obviously was an enormous, catastrophic mistake. I have friends over there still. I enjoyed my time. I love them to death. And I'm not telling you anything I haven't told them. I just don't think they understand that a lot of people in cable news, Megyn, are fighting yesterday's war. They beat CNN and it's over. That fight has been number one for 20 years. They're not the problem now. You're the problem. Podcasts, Rumble, YouTube, Twitter with Elon. That's the problem. The space has been totally disaggregated right now. People can go put Megyn Kelly in a search engine and watch your show 1,000 different ways. They can watch clips on Twitter. People spread it around. And I did this whole thing on my show, and I did a simple internet search of Megyn Kelly. I'm like, wow, totally irrelevant. They only wrote about her 10 times today. I'm like, what kind of idiot thinks? Right? And again, you're in my time slot. So I didn't care. I really love the whole parallel media system. And I don't give a damn. I want to see you succeed and everyone else. But I just think, number one, it was a huge mistake because they may say to themselves, with Tucker at least, getting back to that specific thing, no sweat, don't worry about it. Where's he going to go? Well, the answer is it doesn't matter. Wherever he goes, people are just going to go find him like they find you on Sirius, the internet, Rumble. It doesn't matter. The whole system's been broken apart.
Now, what Dan and Megyn are saying there is absolutely right. A new media, right? You can't even call it a landscape now. It's a new media civilization that's rising. It's already beginning to eclipse the cable and network news model. Remember, both cable and network news emerged pre-internet. They came to the fore in a very different era than what we live in now. Today, we live in a time where as long as we have access to digital networks like the internet, we have access to information events directly. We don't need satellite trucks. We don't need to wait for Fox or for CNN, for that matter, to put together a report for us at 7 p.m. We basically have direct access via digital networks to whatever's going on in the world. And so what that means for content diffusion is that our news consumption is far more lateral than it is linear. So what we tend to do is we go to platforms like YouTube or Rumble or Spotify, and we click on a number of different content creators on either the same subject, right, the same news item, or just on various different ones. So less and less people are turning on the news. Well, less and less people are turning on the television, period. But less and less people are turning on the news at a certain time of the day and letting that single channel play out sequentially hour by hour. So we're consuming our news laterally rather than linearly. That single channel with its single sequential linear lineup, right, that changes by the hour, simply can't compete with platforms that offer the consumer the opportunity to basically swipe through the various content creators. So that's what we do here on this channel. We give you a 7 to 10 minute analysis of a particular event, and you're good to go. You can go to another content creator talking about the same issue from a different vantage point. You could click on the next video of mine to check out another issue, something often completely different. I mean, you could do that. You could go and watch, you could go from Dan and Megyn revealing the truth about Fox to then clicking on and watching monster truck videos and then click on to another news. I mean, this is the beauty of curated content, where 24/7 cable news simply can't compete with that anymore, let alone network news, where you have to wait till 7 p.m. when all the stories have been exhausted by then. So all of this means that with the radical democratization of information via the internet, the old gatekeepers that used to have a monopoly of information, they're just going the way of the Jurassic era. They're going extinct. And apparently, according to Dan and Megyn, the corporate bigwigs over at Fox News have yet to come to that realization. Old habits die hard, but they die. They eventually do. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Ron DeSantis destroying the NAACP. All his donations to BLM implode. You're going to love this. So make sure to click on that link, and I will see you over there. God bless. Hey gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.